First, be sure to put on your PPE before you begin Linus and graphing. Start by selecting the data that you want to include in your graph with the X values in the left and the Y values on the right, and then create a marked scatter plot. Next, add a trend line by clicking on your data, going to Chart, and then Add Trend Line. Under Options, you select Display Equation on Chart and Display R-squared value on chart. The equation will be the equation of your trend line, and the R-squared value is the correlation of your data points to the trend line. The equation is in the form mx plus b, where m is equal to the slope and b is equal to the y-intercept. And with your R-squared value, if it's equal to 1, that means that your data perfectly fits a linear line. To add information to your graph, you can add a chart title and an axis title. If you want to determine not only the slope and the y-intercept of your data, but also the standard deviation of the slope and the standard deviation of the y-intercept, you can use the Linus function. Begin by selecting an array of cells at least 2 columns deep and 5 rows deep. Then select the function operator and select Linus. Fill in your known y's as the y values of your data, and the known x's as the x values of your data. Then, if you don't want your y-intercept to be equal to 0, type true. And then type true for the second. Click inside of the function operator, and then Control-Shift-Enter. Here you have in your first cell the slope, and then in the cell next to it you have the y-intercept. Below the first cell, you have the standard deviation of the slope, and below the second cell, you have the standard deviation of the y-intercept. Now you have a graph, and you have the Linus function, which gives you your data. When you have the graph, be sure to have a chart title, as well as horizontal axes titles on the x values.
Even chemists can make mistakes and laugh themselves. It's true, it's not a myth.
When you have your chart, be sure to have a chart title, as well as horizontal axis titles on the horizontal axis, and vertical axis titles on the vertical axis. Bring your friends to get inspired by the Linus function.